Hey there, it's Carrie Rhodes here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel and a new paper crafting video. In today's card making video, we are playing with Spellbinders club kits for the month of July. We're going to be making 3 cards and I've got one bonus card to share with you. These are all 10 of the club kits that you can get from Spellbinders if you so choose. They come to you monthly. Every month it's a different theme, and this month it's Christmas in July, which I always think is super duper fun. Now, you can get all 10 of these club kits and get a 60% savings. Plus, you can get 2 bonus gifts this month in July, and those gifts are a stencil to go with the Glimmer Hot Foil and an extra set of plates to go with the BetterPress. So let's jump in. We're going to start out with the large die of the month, always my fave. And this month we've got this adorable birdhouse and birds and Christmas foliage. I love that the house itself has wood grain texture cut into it. It's fabulous. I'm going to add a little touch of some darker red ink to this red birdhouse that I am creating today. And that's just going to help give it some extra life. And I like to use a little mini style blending brush to do that, and I'll do that on this extra side piece as well as the house itself, and it goes together really easy, just those 2 pieces. And then we've got 3 pieces that create the roof. The first one is like a snowy bank, and it's going to glue on just like that. And then we've got 2 pieces to create the roof line that will attach to the top of the snowy part. And I did these in 2 different colors of red so that the underneath part was a little bit darker. And then I covered the hole in the back to add in the little opening, and I made that the dark red as well. There's a string or twine to make it look like it's attached to a branch, but we're going to get to that part when I put the whole card together. And by the way, there's actually 2 circle pieces for that door opening, and I almost missed one. So you can layer those in different colors as well to give that depth. Then we have this little post that is for the bird to sit on, so we can glue that right to the front. And there's a little circular oval piece that goes on the end of it just to give it dimension. And Spellbinders is so good like that with the detail. All right, here's all the foliage. We have a pine branch, a leafy branch, 2 dies to create the pine cone, a branch with berries, holly leaves, the actual tree branch, and snow to put on it. It's so cute. So we're going to use all of those pieces in today's card. Now for my bird, I am creating a mountain blue jay because that is the state bird of Idaho, where I'm from, which by the way, it's 100 degrees here today. So Christmas in July, I'm loving it. Just take my mind right off of those high temps. So there's all these little pieces that you can die cut out to put the bird together. There's a set of wings for each of the 2 bird bodies. There's a die that cuts out both of their faces, a die that cuts out both of their beaks and the cheeks, and then there's indentations on either the feathers or the body to show you how to glue it together. It's so clever. All right, so there's the 2 birds, and then we can add the feet. Of course, you could leave the feet off if, you were doing a different kind of scene. You wouldn't have to have those if you didn't want to. All right, so the littler bird is the one that fits really nicely right there on the little perch, like he's looking into the birdhouse. Now, to create our card, I'm going to use a background made with the 3D embossing folder of the month. Look at it. I love it. I'm not actually going to use that green paper like I thought I was. I am going to take my Distress Mica Spray Stain in Frozen Fog, and I'm going to spray the inside of this folder, the part that's the top of the folder with the word Spellbinders on it. And then I'm spritzing a piece of super light blue cardstock with water, and I'm going to run that through my platinum die cutting machine with the universal plate system. And because it's a 3D embossing folder, I usually like to run it through 3 times. And I'm not only getting a good impression, but making sure I get all that mica transferred onto my paper. And look at that snowy, glistening goodness. I love it. Okay, now we can start putting all the things together. So I'm gluing the snow onto the branch. I'm only using 2 of the little snowy pieces. I backed my branch with a piece of lightweight chipboard so it was a little bit popped up and thicker on my card. And then I'll add the twine to the birdhouse. And for the birdhouse itself, I'm going to pop it up with some foam tape and then a little bit of liquid glue on top of that because I'm putting it down onto a textured surface. And then I'm going to decorate the house. But actually, I feel like the little blue jay is the one decorating the house for the holidays. And because of that, you'll see what I do to indicate that. I think it's really cute. But I'm just gluing the pieces together and being a little bit of like a floral arranger, you know, putting the things however I think they look good together. And there's so many different ways you can arrange this, and the packaging on this die set shows you a lot of different ways to kind of configure them around the birdhouse, which I love. So on the second bird, I put a piece of holly in the beak because it actually has a little slit in it, and I thought that would show that like he was decorating the little birdhouse. And I love a little birdhouse for the mountain blue jays because, you know, in the winter they might need a special place to live. Okay, for the sentiment, I'm bringing out the clear stamp and die, and it's going to say delivering joy. I'm actually going to emboss this on white paper using clear ink and red embossing powder. I went ahead and treated my paper with my Cottontail tool because if you have any fingerprints on there, the oils in your fingers can leave a spot that the embossing powder will stick to. So the powder helps eliminate that for you. All right, that was melted down with my heat tool, and then it's time to die cut these out with the coordinating die, which by the way, you can get the clear stamp of the month without the coordinating die set if you choose. So there's lots of options with the club kits. There is a sub-sentiment with this that I'm also embossing on that darker red that says from our home to yours. So it's going to say delivering joy from our home to yours. I'm doing white embossing this time, and then I'll just stick those down onto my card. Now these are going to be half on and half off the birdhouse, so only half of them needs a foam square and the other half gets liquid glue and glued right down to the house itself. And I just think these scripty words die cut out with embossing is so pretty. And then the same with this sub-sentiment, half of it's going on the birdhouse, half of it's going onto the background. So only a little bit of foam tape is needed. So there is my cute little scene. I'm adding this to a 5x7 card base, which is called an A7 card. So it's a 10-inch piece of paper by 7 inches, scored at 5 inches, and then my front panel is added to that. So that's card number 1 with the large die of the month, the 3D embossing folder, and the clear stamp. Now the next one I'm showing you is created with the BetterPress of the month, the regular embossing folder of the month, and the wax seal. I did this card on a live video crafting with friends, and we all used some of the club kits, and it was a live video. It was tons of fun. I'm going to have that linked for you right here on this screen, and then probably at the end of this video as well if you want to go check out how I made this. But I'm showing you the BetterPress set here. The tires are separate from the truck, and there's a little guide there so you can do the truck and press it, then you can take that off, put the tires on and press it. It's really cool. And then there's a tree to go in the back, and there's 2 different plates to do the sentiment, delivering with cheer or Merry Christmas, that you can have on the back of the truck. And by the way, the free set that you can get if you do the whole kit and caboodle is more sentiments to put on the back of the truck that are not Christmassy. All right, I also use the wax seal of the month and that snowflake regular embossing folder, which are both also club kits for the month of July. I also did one in green, and I put a little paint on my finger and rubbed it over that seal, the snowflake part, and that snowflake perfectly matches the embossing folder. So it's very cool, and that was a really fun shaker card to make. So make sure you check out that live video. It was tons of fun. Okay, next I'm pulling out the Glimmer of the Month club kit. This one has 3 plates and 3 dies, and the free stencil if you get the kit and caboodle to color in that holly branch. Now, a little secret that you might not know is I love all things holly, so I'm so excited about this club kit. I have a piece of very smooth white cardstock, some silver mirror foil, and I'm going to hot foil that branch of holly on there. I trimmed my foil down a little bit more so it didn't hang off my paper, or it can transfer onto your plates like that. All right, so here's another secret that I do. Sometimes I put the plate on while my Glimmer Hot Foil system is heating up, and then when it says it's ready, I go ahead and run it through my machine, and it works great. So try that out with yours and see if it works for you. And then it's good to go for the next one, and I can use the timer and all of that you're supposed to use. So there it is. It is stunning, and this is a 1-piece stencil, but on one end it has the leaves, and on the other end it has the berries, so it's perfect. I'm going to do a 2-toned look, and I'm starting out with Mowed Lawn as my first color, and then I'll bring in a smaller, more detailed brush to add in my forest Rustic Wilderness, that's what it's called. And I'm just going to do the tips of them with that darker color and have those two colors blend together, and it's gorgeous. I mean, I love this holly. I just love it. I really, anything holly, little stamps, little dies, hot foiling, I love it all. I don't know, the green and the red, the berries, I don't know what it is, but I love it. All right, so once I had the darker color on, I brought back my larger blending brush without adding any ink and just kind of smoothed out the blend between the colors. And then it's really gorgeous with two tones on there. Love it. So for the berries, we must use Festive Berries Distress Oxide ink, right? And we'll put that down first. These little mini blenders are from Spellbinders. I love them for stenciling like this, especially when you want to add just a little shading to something. They're great. They come in a set of 3, and there's 3 different sizes in the pack. All right, to darken them up and give them a little bit of a shadow, I have Lumberjack Plaid, and I'm just trying to do part of the berry and not all of it. So I'm still getting that two-toned look with the lighter and the darker red, and it just makes it look that, you know, little touch of extra care was added to this. Isn't it gorgeous? All right, there is a die to cut it out, which makes me super happy. And there are also word dies and word plates in the set, and we're going to use those as well. So once that's die cut out, you can see how amazing that is, how it cuts so nice and close. It's just a really classic look. All right, so this says wishing you joy, and part of the sentiment is scripty, the other part is like block letters. I'm going to do red foil on white paper for this and run that through, and there are dies to cut out both of these sentiments, and I just love that. I mean, you have choices with that. I am going to use these plates on my next card without the dies, so you'll see what I mean by choices. All right, so there they are, hot foiled in gorgeous red foil, and there's the dies to cut them out. You can see it's going to bubble cut right around them, and then they'll be ready to go on my card. But for the card, we're also going to need a background, so we're going to pull out that embossing folder again, the 3D embossing folder, because I love it so much, and use that for our background. So there's all 3 of the pieces die cut out. I have a piece of watercolor paper here. I'm spritzing it with some water and then adding Distress Oxide for my watercolor. So I'm using those same colors I used on my ink blending, but this time on the background. And I'm just going to do an ombre effect. So I'm going over it first with Mowed Lawn. The ink has been spritzed with water and really watered down. And then I'll start at the bottom with my Rustic Wilderness and work up towards the top. And I'm going to go back and forth with the other color again so I can get a more seamless blend in the middle. And the paper's wet enough, the ink is wet enough, and so I just added layers, and I think it's easier if you start light and add more than if you go in with a heavy hand. While that was still mostly wet, I ran it through my 3D embossing folder. Oh, it's so good. I love this folder. I love ones like this that have Christmas foliage. They're great for so many different cards. All right, for all my pieces, I actually did a second die cut to layer them up on a really light piece of white chipboard. It's like packaging. I use it all the time because I have plenty of like little scraps of it, and so I use it a lot to layer things up. Or you could also do a couple layers of cardstock if you wanted it popped up. Now I wanted the branch to look like it's coming out from the word joy, so I actually trimmed it down a little bit and butted them up against each other since they're both mounted on that chipboard. So it still looks like it's coming out from underneath, but it's just trimmed. And then we'll add the wishing you towards the top there. This is I don't know, it's kind of a quick and easy card because you've got the stenciling, but there's a lot of like love that went into this card, right? The hot foiling, the stenciling, the watercoloring. Yeah, I set a heavy block on that and let it dry, and then I'm just mounting it to an A2 size card base, so it's got a white border all the way around. I kind of buffed off my holly branch there in case any ink was still sitting on top of the hot foiling, and that's all I'm doing for this card. It's just gorgeous on its own, just like that. Love it. Okay, now we're bringing out, speaking of stenciling, the stencil of the month. This is a 5-piece, really 6-piece stencil set. There are 5 stencils and 1 mask. And this is going to create a leafy berry background, and then you can choose whether or not to put the bow over the top. So we're going to start out, I'm pulling out the same green colors, the Mowed Lawn first and then Rustic Wilderness, and we're going to make a leafy background. And I'm not going to lie, this leafy background is gorgeous. And you could use this for other holidays just by changing out your colors or leaving off the berries and maybe stamping in some flowers. I think that this is a really versatile stencil set, and I love that because, you know, once Christmas is over, you still have options on using this. Okay, so here's the second layer. It's adding in those branches. You could also do a brown here, would look really cool. And then you can see there's some open branches, and that's where the berries are going to go. So we're going to bring back just the lumberjack plaid for this one. I'm not doing 2 colors of stenciling because they're really small berries, but these smaller blending brushes make easy work of getting into those little spots without having to cover your whole stencil with a larger blending brush. So I really like that. So let's take a look at that finished off with the berries, and you can see what I mean. You could even turn these berries into flowers, especially if you're into like a little bit of drawing. You could draw some flowers around them. That would be really cute. All right, this is antique linen. This is the first layer of the bow. This is the solid piece, and then there's a second layer of the bow that is like the detail of that. So I'm going for kind of a gold look, so that's why I did antique linen. And you can see it's pretty transparent there, and you could go over it with another ink, but why would you do that when you could do paste? I have gold Lunar paste here, and I'm not gonna lie, I did not do my best stenciling with paste here. There's a lot of like lines in my stencil work, and I could have gone a little bit smoother. I'm not sure what the deal was. Oh, I know, I was trying to get out the door and walk my dog before it got too hot. I tried to walk my dog at 7:30 this morning, so I was doing this before that, so while I was walking my dog it could dry. So yeah, I'm going to set that aside to dry, and then we'll come back and add the rest, which is going to be a tag. So I have that Wishing You Joy from the Glimmer kit, and I am using white foil on red paper. That's 1.5 inches wide. That's the crucial part to make this a tag. You'll see why after we hot foil it. And the white foil looks so good. It's not as like shiny, but it's a really easy way to get just really bright white on colored cardstock. So there it is, pressed into the paper. I love it. So the reason why I want it to be 1.5 inches is because I'm using this new tag punch by Spellbinders, where you can cut your paper to 1.5 inches or 2 inches or 2.5 inches. Use the guide on the punch and then slide your paper in, and it's going to punch any one of 3 different toppers and poke a hole. Punch a hole, really. So I did that on the end of this. I trimmed it a little bit shorter on the end, and now I am just tying a bow, or a knot, sorry, at the end. I'm going to wrap this around so it kind of goes underneath itself and attach it to the foam squares I have on the back, and then this is going to get added right to the panel here. So it's kind of like a tag on a present kind of vibe. And then I'm adding this to my A2 size card to finish this one off as well. Both of these are just classically beautiful. You don't have to add a lot to them. All right, so I just took a gold gel pen and I'm adding a little dot to my berries. Instead of doing 2 different colors of red, I wanted to just give them a little gold highlight to bring more of that gold into the background. So there is my third card, and here's all 4 of the cards together. Remember, you can catch the video for this one linked at the end of this video, so you can check that out next with my crafty friends Sarah Liz and Lynn of LV Handcrafted. We did cards together. It was really fun, so I'll link that for you. And also, all the club kits are linked for you below. There's a link to go check out all the club kits, so you can decide what kits you would like. You can stop your subscriptions at any time. Of course, you can add to them, and you can also get the full kit caboodle, which also includes the stitching die of the month and the small die of the month, which are 2 that I don't get, which is a little bit sad. Yeah, I don't know why a person wouldn't want all the club kits. So anyways, thank you for stopping by. Thank you for spending some time with me and letting me share my creations with you. If you have any questions about club kits, let me know, and I'll see you all again very soon on the next video. Happy stamping! Bye!